Hi everyone, it's Ali. Welcome back to my channel and thanks so much for joining me. Today I'm going to show you the fun that I had creating with some wonderful products that were sent to me recently by Ranger and Wendy Vecchi. And I've made 2 cards for you using these amazing inks, and there's also some stamps, die and stencil sets that Wendy has brought out recently that are really incredible and perfect for full cards as well. So that's what I was inspired by. Now I'm going to use my Wendy Vecchi Make Art Station, which you know if you've seen my recent YouTube tour of my craft room, you'll know it takes pride of place in my craft room. And I wanted to show you the effect you get by ink smooshing on the Wendy Vecchi Make Art Station. And it gives a really nice mottled effect, and I just wanted to show you the difference here between using the Make Art Station and using my glass media mat, which I use all the time, but I really like the mottling that you get using the Make Art Station to smoosh your inks onto. So I'm just using some watercolour paper there, and I've sprayed those ink patches with some water, and I'm just pressing my watercolour paper down to pick up the ink onto the watercolour paper. So you can see already that the Make Art Station, the ink beaded up quite nicely on that, whereas on the glass media mat it does stay quite smooth, and the look that you get on the card is a little bit smoother as well. So for these particular cards I did use my Make Art Station because I really like that mottled kind of blotchy look, if you like, and it just gives it a bit more texture and interest. So I'm just drying it off with my heat tool in between the smooshing and just making sure I pick up all of the ink and use up all of the ink that I've got down there on the surface. And then I just went in with the first ink that I had there was the green, which is the fern green. I also used the tiger lily, which is the orange, the buttercup, which is a really brilliant bright yellow and actually stays really bright yellow. It's wonderful. And the potting soil, which is the brown. And they are the blendable dye inks from Wendy Vecchi, and they're really lovely to work with. So I'm just there spraying again and going in with my next colour, which was the orange, the tiger lily, and then just drying that off with my heat tool in between. So I continued on like this with the colours, just putting them onto my surface, spraying them with a little bit of water, and then picking them up with my watercolour paper. And you can see again it's a really easy surface to clean off, and there's no trouble there with cleaning it. And just spraying again. This is the yellow, the buttercup yellow, and you can see it stays really bright and vibrant, which really surprised me. It's a lovely yellow, that ink. And then just drying it off again with the heat tool and so on. So you can, with this technique, with the ink smooshing, I really love this technique. I love it for backgrounds. It's so easy to get a really interesting background, and it was quite a quick process. And yeah, it comes out really good. Really doesn't matter how you apply the inks. I didn't really want too much brown, so I didn't add too much of the brown, but I just wanted a little bit in amongst the other colours just to give it that real autumn feel. So I just added the brown last and then dried it off with my heat tool again. So that was the background, and I was really happy, like I said, with that mottled look. And then just cleaning up, as I said, super easy. The magnets on the Make Art Station, I'll show you later, I use for stenciling, and they're really strong and really sturdy. So this is the Wendy Vecchi kit that I used. It's Autumn Greetings. And as I said, really handy that you get the stamp set, the stencils and the die set all in the one thing, so they all come together. And you also get all the little pieces that are cut out of the die set, which is really handy as well, so you can use them for masking and things like that. So love that, really good value that you get them all together. They all coordinate, and so it's really makes it easy to come up with some designs and some ideas for cards. I really liked that little leaf down the bottom of the stencil, so I thought that that would look nice over the top of my smooshing, so I wanted to gold emboss it. So I've used some Versamark ink. I'm just getting some Heavy Doodle memo tape there to mask off the other parts of the stencil. And then I'm just going to use the Versamark ink and put some of those leaves on. First of all, I'm giving it a really good cover of my powder tool so that it doesn't catch any embossing where I don't want it to stick. And then I'm just going to grab, as I said, there's the magnets, which are really sturdy and strong, and they're great for holding everything down. They've also got a really nice foam bottom to them, so you can actually put them on your project without it damaging your project. So I'm just using one of my small makeup brushes and dabbing on the Versamark ink, and then I'm going to just tip my gold embossing powder over the top just to cover where I've inked, and then tap off the excess. Just gently tap off and get rid of any little bits that aren't supposed to be there, and then just heat it with your heat tool. Sometimes I use a small brush like so just to get rid of any floating bits of embossing powder, and then just heat it to set it. And that's how I applied my stencil. So then I just kept going in that same way. Like I said, the foam on the back of the magnets is really handy so it doesn't damage your projects. And the magnets are super, super strong. They're amazing. So really like those. And again, just go ahead and randomly put your stencil over. When you're finished, I've just wiped it over with a microfiber cloth to get rid of all that powder tool that I put on initially. And then I'm going to stamp out on some vellum. I've cut a strip of vellum there, and I'm just using my Make Art Station grid to line up the stamps and make sure they're straight. And then you can just pick them up with your acrylic block and stamp as well. So I've just stamped in Versamark ink again and embossed it in gold embossing. Now I've just trimmed that down to a sentiment strip, and I'm going to kind of wrap that around the front. I'm just going to put my roller tape where on the back of that vellum where the sentiment is, and on the little bits that I'm going to fold around the back, because you don't, unless you've got vellum tape, which I do have some of, but I just wanted to use minimal amount on this piece, and then you can just line it up so that it's straight and fold the tabs over the end and it stays on. And then I just stamped another little leaf from the set and gold embossed it and cut it out with the dies and placed that on the front. Now I've covered the whole back of my watercolour piece with tape so that it sticks it all down and doesn't buckle, and then just press it down to finish off. So quite quick and easy. Love the colours. These are great colours for fall, even though it's heading into spring here in Australia. I know that obviously other side of the planet it's fall, and love creating fall cards. And then for the second card, I'm going to use the stencil from the set again, and I'm just going to use the grass, I guess the grass bit if you like, and do the same thing with the Versamark ink and then gold emboss it again. And then I went ahead and grabbed that corn sort of cob as well, or corn branch I suppose, and then randomly stamped that across the card again with my Versamark ink. And then I'm going to put gold embossing powder over that too, just so it looked like a cornfield. And that background piece I created using more of that yellow colour. I really enjoyed using that yellow, and it gave a really bright look to it, which was lovely. So again, just heat embossing that, and then wipe off the excess powder tool that you've used. Again, I've stamped out another sentiment, and I've made a sentiment strip, and I'm just going to do the same thing where I'm going to fold it over at the back and put the roller tape just behind where the sentiment is embossed on the front of that sentiment strip, and fold the pieces over at the back once it's straight. And then I'm just going to put one of the little corn pieces there as well, again onto the front of a craft card, and they're both complete. So they're really quick and easy cards. As I said, I really enjoy the ink smooshing technique, and it was really lovely effects with this ink. And also the stamps gave that beautiful autumn look as well. Lots of fun to play with. Hope you enjoyed watching it, and I'll see you again next time.